Hello everybody, welcome back to Evolving. I'm playing as Goliath. We're on Wraith Trap against Slim, Tech Hank, Maggie and Blitz Markov. One hunter shy of the OG team and a variant. We will do... Red Panda. I've done Red Panda for a while. Do everything except rocks. We will do traversals as the perk of choice and we will get going. Team is okay. Very good medic. Okay trapper. Okay assault. Bad support, but only because the bot doesn't understand how to play him, as we always say. The way that Tech Hank is supposed to work is that you passively shield your team outside of fighting the monster, so you walk into a fight with the monster with everybody on your team shielded. The reason this doesn't work is because the bot plays him as though he's regular Hank, and regular Hank instantly shields the targeted hunter he chooses. So it's basically an instant shield that he puts on the hunters that are being attacked. That's base Hank. Well, the Tech Hank bot plays him that way. So basically what happens is he just chip shields people. It doesn't really do anything. So as a character though, Tech Hank is pretty decent. If he was used properly, is the case. That's not ability cooldowns. I'll take it anyway. You get some poison hits. Not too bad to get it early. It's going to outkill wildlife at the very least. You'd notice after recording the Gorgon video that's going to go out with this that I actually have my DVD filters on. So my avatar's sort of weirdly to the side because it's usually where the perks are. Squeeze the sloth into that? Yeah, I do. Nice. You do get some poison because of the perk. Try and get these before dogs turn up, if they do. He's going to give us stage 2, which is beautiful. All quiet so far. Behind here. It's going to be a very quick stage 2 in this one. It's usually what goalie games are like, though. Wow, the subtitles actually scared the shit out of me then, because I thought that was a hunter. Yeah, goalie games are usually fast-paced in one way or the other anyway. He's quite a fast-playing monster. Just going to get ourselves back up to full armour and then we'll get in there. Shits are going to get in the way of doing that though. You've got a buff, what is it? The damage buff, excellent, just what I like to see. I'm going to be taking a lot of damage here, actually. It's fine. Didn't hit me there, so I can't eat that. Tried to thread it, it's fine. Corral them all into a charge, beautiful. Let's grab him. Good. Trying to stay out of Hank's beam. We'll go for Maggie because Maggie has trapped us. We do get that. She got healed. That's... There you go. We're going to get out now though because they've all got the damage buff. I ain't sticking around in there. We're going to melt very quickly. It's fine. Directional animations, boys. Won't see that in games these days. Not in a PvP setting anyway. A single animation for every attack. At least in this genre anyway. Shit rock. Because we're allergic to high quality, you know? Very good isolate on Tech Hank there. Is it down, I think? Yeah, it is. Don't ask me who that was for. That's fine. Trying to stay out of spore clouds as much as I can. I think I hit somebody there. Yeah, we hit Daisy. Maggie. We need to go for Maggie now though anyway because we're down again. Good. She's deceased. Go out. I'm going to go for one more before we go for the evolve here because we've got a bit of HP to play with, so try and get some more strikes on somebody. I don't want smell range, to be honest. Even though, no, can't get it now anyway because they're there. Quite a bit of food down there actually. Okay, Daisy's here for some reason. She's not going to be able to attack me though, so looks like we're fighting where we went, full circle. But they traded damage for the HP regen buff, which is actually going to give him quite a bit of sustain, to be honest. Don't think I should be fighting Slim here. Unless we isolate like that. Got him, good. We'll get him on DOT there. Be careful of Maggie coming back here. Grab this on tech ank and then we'll go and get stage 3. Good. More animations. You'll love to see that. I do consider this game to be a fucking atmospheric masterpiece that Time lost to the fucking YouTube subscribe train, you know? It was hip to hate on turning guns blue, but, you know, then we just turned our careers into that, doing that shit anyway with loot boxes and gambling. But, you know, it is what it is. Who am I to judge, you know? So there's stage 3. We're now very strong. This is final evolution. Lots of HP, lots of damage. Especially on Goliath, because he is probably the strongest monster in the game in Legacy. Insane mobility, very high damage, very high HP. Got ourselves back in there. Do hit Hank with that. I think that was Splash though. It's going to get healed straight away, but she's there. I was going to say, I thought she went down the other side, it was a colonist. I'm going to push him around here so I can get a leap off on him. Good. You use you for a bit of catch-up armor? No? Okay. Get rid of Daisy here because she does give fast revives. Good. Shield. Go for you instead while that burns out. That's a drop armor. I've got 10 seconds, so they are actually going to get a new wave here. Might actually give him Slim back that based on the timer. Let's see. Animations again. It's what the ASIM genre lost, boys. You know? I'm the antagonist for saying running around in circles being chased by a teenager with a fucking knife is a genuine example of what fall off means in gaming. But apparently, no. Fucking insane. I'm going to top the armour up because we are facing another wave here. Somebody is dead, so I assume Slim didn't quite get on that dropship. They probably don't have a medic here. Oh, he did get on this. Who the fuck's dead there? Oh, is it? Oh, it's Daisy, I think. Okay. Man's isolated, so he's going to pay for that. This was also back in the day where ASIMs were designed that if you were shit at them, you lost, which is what you're witnessing here. If this was designed by either behaviour or the modern day ASIM, these would have iframes for every situation. These abilities that I'm landing, they'll be turning white and they won't count. Not a chance would you be able to team wipe like that because they're playing like shit. Wouldn't be fair in this day and age. There you go. Skill isn't rewarded anymore, that's what I'm getting at. There you go. The ASIM genre lost its way, boys, at the end of the day, as far as I'm concerned. And it'll always be my viewpoint. I don't, you know, I play Dead by Daylight and I sit in the fucking cesspool and I still say all this kind of shit because I know they have bully culture over there where they try and get you off the platform if you present anything outside of the fucking cattle. But no, if you put these two games together, mate, I will always choose this game because this game's actually well made. It's got atmosphere, it's got good animations, it's balanced, it's got fucking good design to it, it's got no fucking iframes in it, bar the shields, but obviously that's balanced in this game because it does give assaults a means to come back in a fight because that is their class identity. It's not on every survivor. You're not being spoon-fed fucking shit mechanics with like iframes for being bad at the game by being hooked. You don't get iframes for being hooked at the same time so that you can use in front of windows. That has no counterplay whatsoever. You can't reverse your strikes in this unless there is an actual benefit you have earned from a previous round in this game via medbays. Otherwise, if you go down, those strikes are permanent because you're shit at the game. You know, all this kind of stuff. And that's not even in that breath, as I say, I'm just using it as hyperbole here, obviously to compare it to Dead by Daylight. In this game, if you go down as a hunter, it doesn't mean you're shit at the game. You inevitably in this game, you will go down if you are targeted by the monster, but it's about doing as much damage to the monster as you can. And arguably, yeah, that might work in Dead by Daylight, but Dead by Daylight is a lot less action-packed than this game is, and the killers in Dead by Daylight don't have as much versatility, they don't have as much abilities and all that kind of stuff to actually punish survivor mistakes as much as you can in this game. You can really punish hunters being outpositioned and all this kind of stuff in this game, as you should be able to, because, ladies and gentlemen, this is what the power roll looks like, or what it should look like, you know, in an ASIM, not something some fucking prick in his bedroom can run around for the majority of the game throwing fucking grenades at him, flashbangs, causing uncounterable iframe states, reversing hooks, all this kind of stuff, like basically just take from the killer side of the gameplay, the power roll, because he wants to make fucking content for Twitch. Yeah, so that's the way I always speak of the Dead by Daylight now when I'm playing it, because that's what it is, you know. There's a couple of people that, you know, are on board with it and they do watch my videos and all that kind of stuff and they do stick around and they do agree with me and all that kind of stuff, but it's just, it makes me laugh, dude, because every now and then you'll get some fucking planks that come along and they're like, oh, no, this is all good, right? I'll give you a recent example, right? There's a killer, I'm not going to go full into this because it's an evolved video, but I just want you to know over here what the fucking genre is now dealing with, boys, and why it's probably going to be very hard for this game to actually come back, if it ever does, you know. So there's a killer over in Dead by Daylight that I've started playing recently called Plague, right? She's a killer that basically goes around the map, she vomits on survivors, and I like this because it is horror, you know, it is disturbing shit, yeah, something that game's all, you know, they're slowly getting rid of it anyway because they've turned it into Fortnite with a recent patch. Everything's bright and sparkly now, everybody's running around with fucking flowers all over them and all that kind of stuff. You think I'm lying there, I'm not. Go and have a look at the new fucking battle pass, mate. So yeah, I played Plague because I like the design of her and all that kind of stuff. She's a killer that goes around vomiting. You vomit on survivors enough, they'll get injured by it because they're obviously you're spreading the plague onto them essentially. As a plague-ridden woman yourself, you know, you're spreading it onto them by vomiting on them. Now, a particular aspect of this killer's design, and what I will say is fucking terrible design, right, is there are fountains around the map. which is what the survivors in that game can use to cleanse themselves. They're basically like med bays in Evolved, right? Where they just don't remove hook states, I should say, where you can remove strikes with med bays in this game, but they can't remove hook states. But what they do is when you cleanse yourself with these fountains, is they completely heal you back to full health, the survivor, and they remove the plague's vomit effect from them, right? Now there's a situation, I don't know exactly how it's achieved because I've not had too many games on it yet, but there is, I've seen it a couple of times now, where whenever you walk up to a fountain whilst you're playing as the plague that a survivor has cleansed themselves at, you can ingest the infection that they've put into that, obviously cleaning them off, so you drink that, and then you gain vomit that actually injures straight up rather than just infecting and going to, you know, draining them down to an injure. You can now vomit red, black vomit that now injures them directly as soon as it contacts them with very wank hitboxes. There is a situation the survivors can do in this instance, in this game, right, that will completely make it so that you, as the plague, will never have that ranged attack, right? Because all they have to do is completely ignore your power. That's it. If you don't, if you get all of them infected and all that kind of stuff, there is a game state against survivors that know how to rotate tiles, right? They will never cleanse and you will never be able to use your ranged ability, which basically means you will have to follow survivors around, burning every fucking pallet in the map, right? Before you can catch up to people, because you will have no presence in chase, right? Bearing in mind what you've just seen, where I'm actively punishing mistakes. Obviously, with it being bots, there are mistakes everywhere, but you have the agency to do that. You know, you have abilities that can aid you in every situation as the monster in this game, right? So if your opponents in Dead by Daylight in a PvP game, right, decide, I'm not going to cleanse because I know this killer doesn't have any power when we don't cleanse, right? They don't get their ranged ability. She doesn't get the ranged ability at all. That's it. Fucked. You're doomed to only be able to hold W against your opponent for the entire fucking game. And this is what I'm getting at about 10 minutes ago when I was going through the explanation of this. I had some fucking vegetable come to my comments, right, on this video where I actually highlighted this and I said this is what bad game design looks like, because you basically in a PvP game giving one side complete jurisdiction over your fucking side where you cannot do anything about it, right? Some fucking idiot came to my comments and started trying to justify this shit, saying, oh yeah, but she locks you at the injured state and she's very oppressive to play against. Oppressive in the Dead by Daylight players' language, boys and girls, over here, us in Evolve, right, where we're actually fighting giant alien monsters and all that kind of stuff, is a fucking deathly injured, deathly ill woman following you around a map where she cannot actually reach you because she is basically the same fucking speed as you. So as long as you keep rotating pallets, you keep running to windows, you keep dropping pallets in front of her, she literally cannot fucking do anything because she doesn't have her ranged ability. It's a bit oppressive, that, mate. It's a bit oppressive, you know? That's oppressive. I've said it a couple of times, boys. You know when I say it over here and I go on about how I'm actually on the fence on whether I want this game to be revived in the modern day with the modern gamer, you know, because gaming, I mean, I'm 28 years old, right? So obviously I'm getting to middle age now, or, well, I like to say I'm still a young adult, you know, in that sense. 40 is when I'll start to consider myself an adult. Yeah, it's slowly becoming apparent and a sign of the times, boys, at least now, in terms of this genre, that the fucking skill cap for gamers as a whole, at least in this genre, is fucking fell off a cliff. Honestly, like, because to literally say that something that's following you around the map that has no fucking power over what you're doing, you basically dictate the way the power roll plays in the game you're playing, and you turn around and say that shit's oppressive. Fucking hell, it's just it's actually fucking brain rot. It's really brain rot, dude. Just how far we fell from this, you know. It's something I bring up over there when I'm playing Dead by Daylight, and there's people that the activate all the iframe shit and, you know, all this kind of stuff that doesn't actually have any counterplay. There's a perk in that game called Decisive Strike. I'm just going to go through it because it is relevant. I'll only mention 3 more here. There's just 3 problematic perks that just reward playing like complete shit as survivors, right, that you don't get here, which is what I was talking about at the end there, when I actually just stomped the fucking team because I was stage 3, which is something the hunters in this game are supposed to actively stop. It's actually the game's nature. So obviously when the monster gets to stage 3, the hunters deserved to get fucked, you know, because it's literally the game over state. You can beat a stage 3 monster, but it's very hard to do so, and that's on your head as the 4, you know, against the power roll, you know. But, as I say, there's perks in the top of the asim genre now, ladies and gentlemen. There's one called Decisive Strike. So, there's a bit of a contentious debate in the Dead by Daylight community as to whether this perk has counterplay, and I'm here to tell you right now, as honestly and as candidly as I can, based on somebody who's been playing since 2016, this perk does not have counterplay. The reason this perk doesn't have counterplay, and this is where the IQ sort of falls off and they can't actually comprehend this. In a game, in an asim, where you're playing as the killer and you have basically, in some lobbies you can actually have 4 of this perk as well if all 4 of them decide to run this, you don't have time in a time-based asim with gens as fast as they are to wait 60 fucking seconds to be nice to your opponent every time they get unhooked, right? Which is basically what this perk is. It's a response to fucking Twitter back in the day. You know, as soon as, you know, another survivor unhooked you into the killer's face, that killer was supposed to just go, oh, okay, you just run away a little bit. Just run away. You know, I'll ignore that. I'll ignore the injured survivor right in front of my face. I'll go for the healthy one, you know, and restart a chase there. I'll lose the game for you, you know, sweet precious. But then we actually implemented a perk that does this anyway, because then they get put on a timer for 60 seconds. They will, if you down them and you pick them up, they'll fucking stun you, and you get locked into a stun, and it's a chase reset, and they weaponize this shit, you know, for being bad at the game, by being hooked, you know, all that kind of stuff. Then we've got Off the Record, which does not have counterplay for the very same fucking reason. Off the Record is even worse than Decisive Strike, because what Off the Record basically does is, as soon as that survivor is unhooked, again, because they've played like shit and they've been hooked, they get 80 fucking seconds of 0 counterplay iframes. That's all it is. Because as soon as you chase them, and you can go on a really long chase for the majority of that 80-second window, right? As soon as you catch up to them, you hit them, boom, they turn white, nothing happens. They carry on running. Full chase reset. You get slowed down as the killer as well, because you will still do your weapon wipe, where you slow down and clean your weapon off, and it resets the chase. This basically has fucked 90% of the killer roster out of actually playing the game at higher MMR, because they all run it. It's literally 80 seconds of invincibility for being shit at the game. Straight up, that's all it is, you know. But try telling them that, because apparently that's skill in this day and age, you know. Just chase somebody else as the counterplay is apparently touted doesn't work when you've got gen speeds as fast as they are, and you actually need to kill somebody in the game about killing people, you know, to get them out. And then obviously we've got the dead hard one, which is basically just activatable iframes, which granted can require a bit more skill to the actual usage of it, but most of the time it's used at either pallets or windows where it doesn't have counterplay, because you'll either swing at the pallet, you'll take the pallet's stun if they don't have it, because they'll just drop the pallet, or you'll swing at the pallet and they'll dead hard and they'll get the iframes anyway, and then you get a reset, so it doesn't have counterplay. But there it is. And you've also got an honourable mention of Shoulder the Burden, which is obviously the med-based situation I was talking about here, but it doesn't work in Dead by Daylight's game design, because reversing a complete fucking hook state doesn't work with the fucking time frame that you've got, and they can be on comms with this and they can 4-stack it, so basically you never kill anybody. But there you go, as I say, Girl Boss Simulator, that's what it is, boys. That's what we've got at the top of the asim genre now. Bit of a rant at the end, just want to make it relevant across the board on both sides of the street, you know, when I start complaining with DBD videos, and then when I start going on about DBD in this video on Evolve, when I say that the asim genre fell off, because it fucking did. In terms of the grand scheme of things, animations, atmosphere, lore, character design, literally everything about this game. Nah. Well, there you go. we're looking forward to the big fucking rabbit that's going to get added in a couple of weeks. And based on the whole situation, boys, with how they are hiding leaks of this chapter in particular, I am sort of expecting big things, but I doubt it's going to be anything better than what Evolve did in 2015, ladies and gentlemen, as we are now 10 years later, and we are still, basically, at least in this genre anyway, trapped in something that is basically, you know, released in 2015 come 2003. So it is what it is at the end of the day, but, you know, there's your big rant on a goalie video again. We do it from time to time because it's a bit of ceremony, because this monster is insanely fun to play as, and it reminds me of the tragic state of this fucking genre every time I play as him. But there you go. Hope you've enjoyed the gameplay, and I will hopefully see you for the next one. Bye.